Welcome to Tuesday with Terry, the podcast for getting your mind, business, and life in shape. Hosted by Terry Blachek, one of the original area developers for Orange Theory Fitness, who helped launch the brand from the very beginning. He'll use his years of experience to help you shape up your mind, build strong relationships with your teams, revamp your business processes, and set down the path towards success in all aspects of your life.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Terry. I'm your friend. Welcome to another episode of Tuesday with Terry. Hey, thanks for listening in today. I appreciate it. We've been talking about, over the last few weeks, we've been talking about, inspecting what we expect in business. We've been talking about how to have fun at business. But I want to ask you a question. Again, another business topic today. But if you had a business, or you're starting a business or running a business, or you've got a group of people that you're working with, have you ever tried to launch a new initiative, or have you ever tried to change something and it didn't go as well as you wanted, or it stumbled and it ended up, losing momentum, losing speed, and eventually it just kind of disappeared and it never really happened the way that you wanted, and you come back 3 months, 6 months later and you say, whatever happened with that initiative? Why didn't that work? So today what I want to talk to you about is, how do you really get things done, and how do you execute a little bit better? If you haven't read the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, I recommend it. It's a great book, and I'm going to refer to a couple things from that book today. But just in general, I just want to give you some high-level things. I have a phrase that I use all the time, and it goes, if you want to change some things in your life, you got to change some things in your life. I apply that to many other things in business, right? If you want to change some things in your business, you're probably going to have to change some things in your business. If you want to change some things in sales, you got to change some things in sales. I mean, nothing changes if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expect different results. That's not going to happen. You know that. So what has to change? And I think a lot of times when you're looking at your business, or you're trying to get things done and make things achievable, we have good intentions, but either we don't follow through, we don't follow up. And what ends up happening is our intentions usually stay at the door of intentions, and they never make it into the room. They never get fully executed. All that being said, in the past, I've talked a little bit about to-do lists, and these are on a personal basis. To-do list versus the get-done list, right? Are you getting things done, or are you just kind of doing a lot of busy work, but you're not really getting things done? I call that confusing activity with accomplishment. So you're busy, but you might not be doing the right things. You look at your day, and your day runs away with yourself, and yet a week later, 2 weeks later, the results, the KPIs, the key indicators of your business haven't really changed. And so when you look at that, a couple things you have to say is, the first one is, if things are going to change, it really sits in my court. It comes down to, you are the person that can effect change. If it's going to be, it's up to me. I can get this done. I can effect change. A giant forest fire starts with a single spark. And that spark has to start somewhere in the organization. And that's you. I had a group of people this week I was meeting with, and someone said, well, we don't think we can do something because, we're not sure it would be approved, or we're not sure that's the policy. And so what I found in a group that I was working with is, we had become paralyzed by bureaucracy. We had become paralyzed by people thinking, number one, the top person and the top leaders in this organization don't listen. I've tried it before and they shot that idea down. Therefore, I don't bring new ideas to the table. They don't care. When they don't listen, that means they don't care. And if they don't care, then I'm not engaged and there's nothing I can do. And so people find themselves in this cycle of, I'm helpless and in essence hopeless for change. So 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I spoke about, inspecting what you expect. But I'm really trying to lay a foundation for some of these things that might be going on in your company or in your organization, because I'm experiencing some of that right now. And I'm trying to dig into the details. I'm trying to find out where the problem is, what the what the problems are, why people believe this, what's happening. And so I had some thoughts, and part of that was the 4 disciplines of execution. You've heard this before, people either lead, they follow, or if none of those two, then they probably should get out of the way and do something else. But, if you're really going to get something done and execute something, I say this all the time, keep the main thing the main thing. And so a lot of times I'll say that, but people go, well, what does that mean? What's the main thing? What do you mean by that? And so I don't really know what that is for your business, but I would maybe say it this way, is focus on what's incredibly important. Focus on what's wildly important. Focus on what's really important. And what is that? Is that the customer? If the customer is the most important thing, then focus on the customer experience. If sales are the most important thing, then focus on leads, setting appointments, presentations, and closing the sale, right? If revenue is the most important piece, focus on driving revenue. If cost cutting is the most important piece, focus on cost cutting. Everything can't be the most important, because if everything's the most important, then nothing is the most important. I don't know what that is for you. I know for me, sales ranks new member acquisition, and sales ranks really high. I know that revenue and expenses and EBITDA profitability rank really high for me. And so I'm always looking for ways to generate new members. I'm always looking for ways to keep my members happy and give them the best experience. I'm always looking for ways to drive our revenue for the company. And I'm always looking for ways to control my cost, streamline my cost, therefore giving me the highest profitability for my company. All I'm suggesting is keep the main thing, and don't let everybody get busy on sidetracks that don't allow your frontline people, your middle management people, and your leadership team to focus on what's really important. Number 2 is you really have to create actionable items. And so a lot of times there's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of meetings, and there's a lot of cross-talk and up to down. But at the end of those meetings, at the end of those talks, what we really have to say, if this is the most important thing, what are the actionable items that we need to be teaching, training, using, coaching, inspecting? What are those actionable items that we need to do on a daily basis so that we can repeat good habits and we can have incredible success and really execute at a high level? And so actionable items might be so many outbound phone calls. Actionable items might be a certain process in cleaning. Actionable items might be encouragement calls to existing membership bases. Actionable items might be a weekly review of cost of credit cards that your employees have, and they're using credit cards. Maybe they're spending on the wrong things. I did this and found out I had given my group of my leadership team credit cards, to use for business purposes. And next thing I know, I'm buying everybody's lunch. Everybody's having a meeting over lunch instead of just having a meeting. Everybody's taking everybody out for meetings. And I go, we don't really need to be doing that. So we cut that out, or we streamline that. All I'm suggesting is, what are the actionable items that you need to do on a regular basis from top to bottom, what to focus on, so that you can get change or accomplish change or get your results of what you're trying to do. Number 3 is the scoreboard. I can't tell you how powerful that is. I have always been a fan of sales contests, and a lot of people do sales contests, but if you really want a successful sales contest, you really have to focus on the scoreboard. And I'll use the analogy of basketball or athletics. Anytime you're playing a game, that scoreboard is at both ends of the field or multiple places around the arena. It's being flashed up there on a regular basis. People shoot the basket, and what do? They look up at the score. People kick the field goal. They look at the score. People hit the baseball. Guy comes across the plate. They look at the score. Scoreboards are powerful to move the needle. What's the scoreboard that you're using? And if you're doing a sales contest, people say, well, have a scoreboard. The next question is, who's looking at the scoreboard? You might be sending it to a group of people, but they're not, in an email, but they're not sharing it and printing it and showing the people that it actually affects. Meaning, if you have a sales team, frontline sales team, they need to see the scoreboard. They need to see their scoreboard and comparison scoreboards. They need to know what the expectation is and what the score is and how are we doing? How are we pacing? Are we pacing at the right pace? And if we keep doing what we did for the first 10 days, how's it going to look at the end of the month? Is it compelling? And what does that really mean? Is it compelling? Not that it's just a scoreboard, but is it relative and is it enough? Are the pieces and parts of the scoreboard, is it enough? And is it coached and trained on so people understand it? So it actually helps them to know what actionable items they need to do to keep the main thing the main thing. It all falls into alignment. Compelling means it actually works. It actually helped motivate somebody. Maybe it's double commissions for a week or a day. Maybe it's a closeout of, past people, accounts that you've talked to that have not closed. It might be an incentive, but whatever it is it compelling to get that person to do the actionable items that they need in order to accomplish the goal? And the last piece is really a cadence or a rhythm of accountability. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, everybody needs a coach. Orange Theory Fitness was built on everybody needs a coach. Professional athletes need coaches, executives, myself need coaches. We need, executive coach. I actually have an executive coach that I talk to once a week, does a great job. But everybody needs a coach. Michael Jordan needed a coach, right? Star athletes need a coach. And so if they need a coach, isn't it true that everybody needs a coach and they need some level of accountability? You can't leave people go for 30 days or for 2 weeks when they're trying to accomplish something or you're trying to roll out a new initiative or move the needle or change something in an organization and expect that it's going to happen just because you told everybody to do it and do it once. You need to be present. You need to be active. You need to be engaged. You need to follow up. You need to inspect what you're expecting. You need to find people doing good things, doing things right, continue to inspire, continue to motivate, move the needle. I talked about this as well as center of influence is if you're the lead, could be anywhere in the organization. You could be a manager, you can be a regional, you could be a director, you could be a VP, you could be a C-level player. But you have to have a circle of influence. And a circle of influence, is bigger than perhaps what you think it is. Meaning that the more people you touch and communicate and inspire or motivate or talk about what we're trying to do or accomplish, recognition, that can be very powerful in an organization. And so getting out into the field and visiting and inspecting, looking if you have multiple stores, if you have multiple studios, if you have multiple businesses, if you have different cities of businesses, you've got to get out and take a look at it. You can't just leave everybody alone, tell them you want to make some changes, give them some ideas about how to make those changes, leave them go for 30 days and come back in 30 days and go, hey, what happened? What just happened? In any case, what I'm really suggesting is that cadence of accountability, is that weekly? Is it daily? I have my studio managers report every morning at 10 o'clock. I call it the daily stats. And they report in those key performance indicators of how they did yesterday and how they're set up for today. I have my regionals go into my businesses once a week and do walkthroughs and conduct audits and reviews to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. We're taking actionable items. We're keeping the main thing, and that everybody knows what the score is or what we're trying to do. From a higher level, from a VP level, we then can't have that frequency because of the size of the business, but those visits and those audits then become monthly or quarterly. Regardless, there is a rhythm, whether it's daily for lower levels, weekly, monthly, or quarterly for accountabilities. I'm the CEO of my company and I have a board meeting once a month. And there's a level of accountability one time a month where I have to report on my business. All I'm suggesting is if you want to get things done, number one is you're probably going to have to make some changes. You're going to have to maybe change your schedule, change a process, perhaps change some people. But again, remember to focus on the main thing. What's really, really important. Many of us are trying to recover our businesses from COVID, and that usually has to do with sales. It has to do with revenue. It has to do with, cost controls. Focus on what's important. Create actionable items, a compelling scoreboard, and a cadence of accountability. Try to think about this and how you can implement some of these things in your business to improve the business this week, this month, or this quarter. My name's Terry. I'm your friend. Thanks for listening.